So, my sister Hailey posted a video where she was trying to draw on my art style and comparing it to her own, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's fun. I'll respond to that in like a week. And then... So, firstly, I had to message Hailey and be like, hey, what even is your art style? She then, of course, hates me and wants me to die, so she took 30 minutes to respond with this.
Hold up. Wait, who are you? I am you.
But I don't think that that's that true, so let's look at what makes up Hailey's art style. The texture of Hailey's work, no matter what substyle she's working in, always has this really soft quality to it. And I think this is because she's using like a really soft brush, and then she uses that to build up instead of scribbling around the way that I do. It gives the piece she makes a really distantly sad kind of vibe sometimes, but also works in her advantage when she does really creepy cute stuff because it's mellowed out enough to keep you looking until you see something isn't quite right. This girl turns up the anime dial to 10, hit him with the e-girl brush, give him the weird eyes, little noses, squish up the face and make it cute. It kind of mimics how Cherry from Studio Killers is drawn a lot, which would make sense because Hailey is for Studio Killers. I think that aspect also comes into play when we look at the body proportions and compare them to Cherry. We be loving round girls with attitude, and even when we aren't explicitly seeing bigger girls, there's still a round quality to the lines and smaller framed figures. Something I notice most about Hailey's drawings is the way she colors and adds backgrounds. For one, it's never really consistent, but then the inconsistency becomes consistent, and you realize kind of like, oh, she's just playing. That is to say that she has this habit of not being afraid to experiment with finishes on things. I see a lot of scribbly airbrush textures to build up color. I see sketch lines coming through the final lines. I see different ways of filling out the negative space that makes it feel more whole and pieced together. And I know some of this is just because the girl is drawn on her damn phone and forgets what layer she's on. It's not an attack, I'm just calling it how I see it. But it turns out really cool and gives something kinda standoutish about how she does things. Especially because sometimes a piece is about as finished as it could be, while still having aspects that look partially done, but in like a cool way, I guess? If that makes sense? Help? Overall, I'd say Hailey has this really exaggerated and round cartoony style almost. So now that I've got some feel notes, I'm gonna jump into drawing. So, for whatever reason, I don't have all the files from when I was recording the original sketch layer, but I handle it the way that I handle all of my work, which, like, is if I'm trying to draw a specific person or something like that could easily have a reference, I obviously find the reference and I grid it out and I just work from it. And I start traditionally like with physical paper and pencil because I just work faster that way. I don't really know why that is or if I'm lying about it. Like I just don't know. So here are the few clips I have of that. And then it's just gonna cut to me drawing it in Photoshop the way I think would fit Hailey's style. So just a really quick overview of that. I sketched over my sketch layer with a blue to do like a double sketch, I guess. And then I was experimenting with a complementary color background at first because I wanted to try doing this thing where she lets her initial sketch stay in the final piece. But I scrapped it because I didn't really like the orange and blue combo. And I went with more of a rainbowy, flowery direction, which admittedly is probably more my aesthetic, but I'm gonna justify it by saying I did it with her weird textures in mind. And I used some of the brushes I usually don't ever touch. And I also just kind of left it wavy and round and bubbly. With the coloring, I did what I think she does, which is just airbrushing the hell out of it. I leave it puffy and floaty, and then I just kind of copied the way she does facial expressions with the weird eyes and the super blushed out face. And I really honestly think that this turned out super cute. and try to do it in my art style. So quick overview for mine, not that you need it because y'all already know how I draw, but basically I started out with the same initial sketch and then did the finishing lines differently. So with my outlines, I love big and bulky, like I love thick outlines. The more it looks like it came out of a comic book or manga, the better. So I just take my time distributing the line weight in a way that I think looks nice, and then I add texture to the sleeves because I just like giving details to clothes. I don't really know why, it's just super cathartic. It feels nice for me, so I do it. And then I eventually move on to do my scratchy boy shading on the hands and the face, as well as start texturing the hair, which I feel like if anybody wants to say anything about my art style, the way I do hair is probably the biggest part of it. And yeah, it does take freaking forever. I go ahead and I start adding color to the eyes and the lips after that, and then for the background and the coloring of the sweater, I decided to use the same little rake brush I used in her picture because I liked the texture of it more than I thought I would, and I just wanted to play with it. And then after that, I go in on the sweater with a thicker brush and darken up some shadowy areas and pull out some detail, and that's all I've really got to say about it. Here are the two side by side. You can see the difference and see what's up. And here's Hailey's Instagram and a link to the video that she did. If these don't work on screen, I'm gonna put them in the description, so check them out. She's funny, or whatever. Honestly, after doing this, it took me a second to draw like myself again and not like her. So if you ever just want to have an art crisis, swap styles with someone for a little bit. It's super weird. But yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye!